This week Seder, we come to a certain point which says they brought a roinoi of Yaakov Avinu to a place which is called Goyren Ha'atad. What is Goyren Ha'atad? Goyren Ha'atad, the being down in the Medrash, is like a haystack of thorns. So the Medrash asks, what do you mean a haystack of thorns? How can you have a haystack of thorns? If it's thorns, it doesn't make sense. What is it exactly? So the Medrash brings down in a place where over there sat a lot of goyim, and they saw that that all the Shvatim and all Mitzrayim brought a roinoi of Yaakov Avinu, and they saw all the crowns of all the kings in the area. So they lifted up their hands and they said, Evel Godol Ze LeMitzrayim. So the Medrash brings down, just like these people weren't mechavan, exactly, they just lifted up their pants, or they closed they had on their pants like a belt, and they closed the belt, and they lifted up their hands, and they said like instinct, why? Evel Godel Ze LeMitzrayim. Al-Achas Kama V'Kama, the Medrash brings down, is someone does chesed to his friend with his hands and his feet, and he talks to his friend, and he has his friend in mind, and he sits next to him, and he's mechazik him, and he gives him koyach, and he gives him strength, and he talks to him, and he's mechazik him. Alachas kama v'kama, how much tzachar do we get? What do we see by Rabbi Preda? Rabbi Preda, the Gemara brings down in Evin Nun Gimel on the base. He had a Talmud. The Talmud didn't understand nothing. He told the Talmud each halacha, each Dvar Torah 400 times. Once the Talmud told the Rabbi Preda, I want you to teach me a certain word which he told me yesterday. So Rabbi Preda told the Talmud, listen, I'm going to be Mekayim Devar Mitzvah, so I can't tell you this word. So the Talmud said, Ava became, tell me what we learned yesterday. And Rabbi Preda told this Talmud the halacha 400 times. After he told him 400 times, he asked the Talmud, you understood what I told you? So the Talmud said, listen, I thought every second you're going to be Mekayim your Dvar Mitzvah. So Rabbi Preda told him the halacha again 400 times. After he told him the halacha again 400 times, he asked the Talmud, you understood? So he told him the halacha 400 times. Baskoil came out from heaven and said, Rav Preda, what do you want? Do you want your whole generation to get Olam Haba? Or you want to live another 400 years? So Rav Preda says, I want my whole generation to get Olam Haba. So the Gemara brings down, they gave Rav Preda, Kodishura gave Rav Preda to live another 400 years, and the whole generation was zercha to get the Chaya Olam Haba. When a person gets a bracha from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, a person gives his koiches to the friend. If it's walking with him, if it's talking with him, if it's to be mechazik him, if it's to sit next to him and listen to him, our whole health is a present from Melech Malchei Amlocha HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Whatever we do for our friend, it's a present. Whatever we have in life for the other person, it's a present what HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us back. I want to tell you a story. I met a doctor in America a few months ago, and I asked the doctor, tell me a story. Tell me a story. I want to hear something. Tell me a story. So the doctor told me, I want to tell you something interesting. He told me like this. I'm a doctor. He lives in Toronto. And he told me, I want to tell you something interesting. I'm a doctor of my whole neighborhood. People which go to resign, they worked in in an office until the age of 55 or 60 or 65. I don't know what age it was exactly, he told me. But whenever people go to pensioner, they resign, they work till a certain age, and they go home. All the people which worked till a certain age, the day after they went to resign, these people suddenly become ill. They have heart problems. They don't get up in the morning. The life is different. If a person works at a certain age and every morning gets up early and he runs to davening and he runs to the Shir Torah and he runs to his office, his life goes and he's happy. The second the person comes home and that's the end of his work, his whole life becomes completely different. Our whole life, which a person doesn't resign, he works for הקדוש ברוך הוא, אנחנו עבודים של הקדוש ברוך הוא, כמו like we say in Tehillim, אני אבטחו בין המסכו, פיתחת לו מויסרוי. Our whole life is based to be Eved Hashem, to help, to work with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to work for our friend, to lift him up, to be with him, to look after him, to have him in mind, not to lift up our hands, not to say, we're going home now, we don't have to work anymore. Our whole life is based to be for the other person. Be'ezat Hashem. Yaakov Avinu, that's what Yaakov Avinu was. Yaakov Avinu wasn't a man of the world and thought about himself. No, Yaakov Avinu had in mind the whole of Am Yisrael, the whole of Eretz Yisrael, the whole of Mitzrayim. He came to Mitzrayim. Yaakov Avinu was Nifta, was the Avel of Kol Eretz Mitzrayim. When Yaakov Avinu came to Mitzrayim, the famine stopped. Yaakov Avinu was Nifta, the famine came back. A person can be a ish of his own shchuna, a man of his own shul, or a person can be a yid of Gans, Klal Yisrael, Godel Ador, the whole world, the whole generation. We can see who each and every person is, Bezat Hashem. We come to the end of Bereshis, we say Chazak, Chazak, v'nitchazek. A person soon going to a matzav of depression. We finish Sefer Bereshis, we start Sefer Shmois. We learn one daf a day, tomorrow we learn another daf. We went one halacha today, tomorrow we learn another halacha. Our whole life is based, again, more and more and more. A guy that's jogging, he runs today, he runs tomorrow, he does something today, he carries on tomorrow. Hamachadesh betuvoy b'chol yom tomid maseh bereshis. Whatever happened today, tomorrow is more koiches, more siyata d'shmaya, more Torah, more halacha, more divrei Torah, more tefillas, more and more. A yid never lifts up his hand, goes weiter and weiter. Kaveh el Hashem chazak, v'yametz libecho, v'kaveh el Hashem.